very much. We'll begin our first round of questions now, and thank you, panel, for your opening statements. Director Schneweis, I'm glad that you mentioned Nebraska's work to assume NEPA authority. During a recent Senate Environment and Public Works Committee hearing, Secretary Chow said that she hoped to have the MOU between Nebraska and the Federal Highway Administration signed shortly. Can you elaborate on the benefits to Nebraska you believe will result from assuming this authority, and do you believe the NEPA assumption process could serve as a model for other permitting authorities?
Thank you, Chairman Fischer. We are entering the final stages of the negotiation, so I can tell you we've been very pleased with the approach that Federal Highway has taken with us, both locally and here in Washington. We've gotten a lot of support as we try to enter into this agreement. For us, it's really a matter of saving time and saving money. We have the experts that do this work at the DOT, and so to ask them to do the work and then hand it over for review on the federal side and do that again and again throughout the life of a project, it adds time that we don't feel is necessary. So we think we're going to be able to shave off a lot of time and therefore save money on our projects. I do think that state DOTs are uniquely positioned in many ways to assume some of these responsibilities, and I think there are opportunities to look at other areas. I would encourage looking at, for example, Section 404 with the Corps of Engineers. It's something we issue, or we submit 30 to 50 permits a year. We have experts who do this every day, and I think we could do it in a responsible way that met the obligations.
Have you had an opportunity to look at a bill, or I don't know if it's been introduced quite yet, from Senator Cornyn that deals with Section 404? I recently signed on to that. Have you? I
have seen it, yes, and without, I don't want to mess up the details of it, but it seemed like something that we would be very much in support of.
Okay. And have you had the opportunity to look at other states who have assumed NEPA authority? There's a number of them that, I think 6 to 8 that
Correct.
Are currently have it. And what has been their experience with that?
I think it's been very, very positive, and I'll tell you there is a bit of a fraternity with state DOTs, so as we enter into these things, the states that have jumped first are often very eager to assist us. And in fact, some folks from Ohio came out to Nebraska and spent a lot of time with us, helping us think through the decision. I know California is there, Alaska, Arizona is is just a few weeks ahead of us. So there's a lot of interest, and the folks who have done it have found it to be successful.
And you've had a good working relationship with the Federal Highway Administration on that?
Yes, Senator. The Federal Highway has been very supportive of this effort.
Okay, thank you. Also, I was very, very happy to see that Nebraska received a $25 million Tiger grant for the Lincoln South Beltway project. And generally, Nebraska's done better under our formula funding than we have under a grant or any kind of financing programs, although I hope to see Nebraska better compete in the future for those. Can you talk about the importance of maintaining the Highway Trust Fund and the formula funding programs to our state?
Sure. We were very pleased with the news on the Tiger grant. After a decade of submissions, to finally be on the receiving end, it was very exciting. Grant programs are great. I think it provides the federal government an opportunity to partner in transformative projects that maybe transcend boundaries of states. But ultimately, a lot of our federal funds are spent on preserving our 10,000 miles of highways. And for us, that certainty is what we need, knowing that those resources are going to be there, that we don't have to depend on a grant to be able to take care of those roads and bridges, is a key component for us.
And thank you very much. Mr. Gilmartin, you mentioned this briefly in your testimony as well. Could you elaborate on the importance of that consistent long-term funding to cities' abilities to plan for future transportation projects?
Absolutely. It's not a lot different than in private business, where having a long-term sustainable partnership is something you've got to look at. When we talk about building infrastructure, we're talking about roads and bridges and other things that we're looking at lasting 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So understanding that you've got a partnership, you have a source of revenue, you have a program that you can use over the long haul is very important, because these are not one-year decisions or two-year decisions. They play out over decades.
Thank you very much. Senator Peters.